Welcome everybody to the 200th episode of the Young Leaders, Inspiring Young Leaders Forum, organized by the Association of Indian Management Schools. Today, on the 30th of August, 2024, focusing on the renowned book of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Dr. Stephen Covey. This session aims to explore the timeless principles of personal and professional effectiveness outlined by Dr. Covey, helping participants develop habits that foster growth and success. The attendees will learn how to apply these habits in their daily lives, enhance productivity, leadership, and interpersonal relationships. I'm your moderator for the session today. I'm Dr. Yamini Miduri, the founder and lead designer of Y Mindset, a training and consulting firm. It's an honor and an absolute pleasure for having been asked to moderate this milestone 200th episode of Young Leaders, Inspiring Young Leaders Forum. Before we start the session, here are a few housekeeping announcements. The participants are required to post their questions in the chat box, and the questions will be answered by the speaker in the Q&A session towards the end. The feedback and attendance link will be shared in the Q&A session and is available only for 15 minutes. Certificates will be issued to participants based on the feedback that is submitted. Having said that, I will once again welcome all of you to the 200th session of the Inspiring Young Leaders Forum. We have with us today our eminent speaker, Dr. Ravi Dasari, President and Group Head of HR at Jasper Industries Private Limited. He's a seasoned HR professional with a wealth of experience in leadership development and organizational strategy. Known for his dynamic approach to human resources, Dr. Dasari has been instrumental in fostering a culture of excellence and growth within the organizations. His insights to the 7 Habits framework will provide valuable guidance for all of you as young leaders who are aiming to maximize your potential. I, along with all of you, am looking forward to this session today. We are about to dive into the discussion on one of the most influential books in personal development, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Dr. Stephen Covey. Since its first publication in 1989, this book has not only become the bestseller, but also as a cornerstone for those seeking to enhance their personal and professional effectiveness. Covey's principles are timeless, offering profound insights into leadership, time management, and personal growth. An interesting concept that stands out from the book, and my personal favorite, is the character ethic. Dr. Ravi, we would like to probably hear from you. What are your perspectives on character ethic?
Thank you, Dr. Ramini. Thank you, Professor Durga Prasad, for giving me an opportunity to be a part of your milestone session. And thank you very much. I all the time believe nation is built in a classroom. And I'm very glad that I'm talking to people, particularly students of management schools. There is all through what is happening is when you read, when you are trying to impress people, we use something called a personality ethic. For example, to impress a boss, probably you manipulate, you try to impress. Even a simple example of it would be, we all the time say that a sales fellow should smile at the customer when you are serving your customer. But if the smile is not coming from your heart, that becomes a fake smile that will be even irritating. See, all the self-help books in the market, which are to be seen today, they are all built on the personality ethic. Stephen Covey says, it is not the personality matters. Character is something which is very, very important. Building character ethic is very, very critical for the success of any individuals. See, if you try to understand, right? I remember there was an occasion. Swami Vivekananda was walking on the roads of Chicago after that great speech. So one American saw Swamiji with a different kind of attire with a turban on the top, right? He was walking on the streets of Chicago. An American fellow, he pulled the turban, he went to Swamiji and pulled the turban. Then Swamiji retorted, hey, why did you pull my turban? American was even surprised, how come a Swamiji looking fellow speaking such beautiful English? Then Swamiji further asked, hey, why did you pull my turban? Then American said, you don't look like a gentleman. Swamiji retorted, he said, it seems in your country, tailors make gentlemen. In our country, character makes gentlemen. The issue is all about building a character ethic, which is considered to be a foundation for effectiveness for the success. If at all you are believing in changing small things in a decorative way for the short-term gains, that may not last long. But if at all you have a character, you are a person of integrity, you have consideration for people, and this character, building this character is very critical for becoming effective. This is what Stephen Covey all the time says. So that is where it's all about the seeds are very important for a tree to go. So character is like a seed. Character is like a seed which is inherent for the success or for the effectiveness of an individuals.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that perspective, Dr. Ravi. I would also like to ask you what do you think? Why was this book talking about effective people and not successful people? How are they similar or different?
Yeah, again, the definition of success is again a different question. That is where the book starts with a very interesting fable, Aesop's fable. There is a poor farmer. He was struggling, a very terribly poor farmer. He was struggling. One particular day, he found a beautiful goose. Yeah. And next day, he saw the goose has given golden egg. Oh, he was thrilled by looking at the golden egg. Then next subsequent day, he found another golden egg. So the goose began giving golden eggs. He felt very happy, and he was enjoying, and over a period of time, he has become rich. And not only has become rich, suddenly he was every day morning, he was waiting for the golden egg to come. He has also become a little greedy. He was waiting, and one particular day he could not wait further, and he wanted to take the golden eggs, and he killed the goose, and he found nothing. He found nothing. So in general, what we do in our life is we all the time look for something called production. We are looking for the results. We are looking for the results, and in the process of looking for the results, probably we may forget the production capacity. What is happening? The goose has to be well maintained. The goose has to be well maintained, and the goose should be properly groomed. Goose should be given proper food, and goose has to be maintained so that it can give you the golden eggs. And this fellow, what happened to this fellow? Out of the greediness, he killed the goose, and finally he could find nothing. Similarly, in our lives, what we do is we put extra efforts in the pursuit of results, the pursuit of higher production. Sometimes we ignore preserving and maintaining ourselves is very important. I remember my own story. I'll tell you. I was studying in university, right? One particular exam, the first exam, I studied like anything. I prepared overnight, and I spent at least 22 hours, maybe 1 hour or half an hour for barring that. I was only reading till the moment I went to the classroom. And after going to the classroom, somehow my pen was not moving because my thoughts were not properly coming out. The reason was I was very good at producing. Maybe I learned many things, but next day my production was good on that day. The subsequent day, my production capacity has come down. So similarly, what happens even in the organizations, we build a goose, right? We build a goose. If we become greedy, then probably we also, there are instances we kill the goose. Similarly, this applies to us also, right? This applies to us. That is where Stephen Covey says maintaining the balance between production and production capacity is very important. It's not that you are producing today, but your production capacity would come down tomorrow. For example, somebody is doing a lot of work, missing your family, missing the relatives, missing the relationships. What happens is you may burn out. That when you burn out, your ability to produce in future would come down. That is where, for the success, for the effectiveness of people, effectiveness lies in maintaining a balance between P and PC. P stands for production and PC stands for production capacity. So it's all about maintaining, preserving, and enhancing resources that produce results, which are very important. And that is where Stephen Covey says it's all about balancing. Balancing is something, P and PC balance is critical for the effectiveness.
Yeah, wonderful. I mean, it's so interesting. We probably heard, I'm sure all the participants would have heard that story of the man and the goose, but we now know where it has come from. So maybe now understand, Dr. Ravi, from you, what are those coveted habits which have made this book a bestseller for almost 3 decades?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. See, these habits, when you try to understand, there are 7 habits. First 3 habits we speak about personal effectiveness. Next 3 habits speaks about the interpersonal effectiveness. And Stephen Covey uses a very, very interesting language. He says that private victory is very, very important before you are planning for the public victory. So first 3 habits speaks about private victory. That is, it is all within you. This is all about the personal effectiveness. And next 3 habits speaks about the interpersonal effectiveness, wherein we call it as a public victory. Then the last habit speaks about, it's all about sharpen the saw and how we maintain our mental, physical, and emotional things. I will speak to you, maybe as we move forward, I wish to explain one after one, right? Yeah, right, right. The first habit 1 is be proactive. Be proactive is the habit 1. To understand, to make people understand what is proactive is, it is opposite of reactive. It's opposite of reactive. And be proactive says you are responsible for your life. You are the architect of your life. You should not blame the environmental forces for your success or failure. A very interesting thing, even if you look at the Swami Vivekananda, he says, you are the architect of your life. The language of reactive people is, hey, I could not do well because there is an environmental factors. And the proactive people use a different language. It is me who is responsible for my life. It is me who is the architect of my life. In simple language, they say that it is me who is the programmer of my life. If you look at the computer language, I am the programmer of life. So one is between stimulus and response in general. Reactive people may not use the freedom to choose, but whereas proactive people use a freedom to choose based on self-awareness, imagination, conscience, and independent will. So proactive people take time before responding. Reactive people say that that fellow made me mad. I said something. That fellow made me mad. I said something. And is in between stimulus and response, they are not choosing that there is something called a freedom to choose, which they are missing. But whereas the proactive people, before responding, they use they use their self-awareness, imagination, and conscience. This is one. Second thing is, as I said, see, these people are responsible. Responsible, again, Stephen Covey defines a responsibility in a very beautiful way. He says, response plus ability is responsible. So proactive people are responsible. I am aware. I am responsible. I am the creative force of my life. I choose my attitudes, emotions, and moods, and I can forgive, and go past and past. See, the beauty of these people, maybe if somebody knows cricket, right? Cricket, there is something called sledging in cricket. Sledging is done for the purpose of somebody's benefit, to trouble you, to influence your moods. And this man says, see, you should not be driven by your moods. You should be able to choose your emotions. Then you should develop the habit of even forgive, forget, and let go past. Certain things, see, for example, there are certain things in the world probably which are not in your control. You need to let go. Let go is something Stephen Covey also all the time advocates. The issue is all about, there is something called, there are 2 issues. One is circle of influence and circle of concern. Circle of concern is what is happening today in the world. For example, American economy is not doing well. Indian economy is not really picking up. There is an unstable government. The job market is not that great. Can a student do anything for it? This is beyond your control. You can't do anything about it. Am I right? So issue is circle of concern is something which is beyond your limitation, which is something happening in the environment. What can you do? What is something in you with you is circle of influence. Circle of influence is what is your skill level, what is your ability, what is the your learning inclination, what you have done is something which is within you is the circle of influence. The interesting thing is reactive people have the tendency of saying that no, I'm not able to do something because the American economy is not doing well, the job market is not doing well. Somebody says that no, there is a disruptive technology comes into picture called artificial intelligence that is really taking my jobs away. But what a circle of influence fellow can do is, hey, there is a market for artificial intelligence, so there's generative intelligence. Maybe let me also pick up what are the new that learning. Probably they also adapt to the new technologies and put extra efforts and become employable in the market. Or similarly, if somebody wish to become a good entrepreneur, there are a lot of technological changes are happening in the market. Maybe you use the technology to leverage your business rather than saying that, hey, technology is troubling me. Because of the technology, I'm not able to get the job or not able to move further. So the beauty is when you're working on the circle of influence, very interesting thing is the circle of concern will shrink. Circle of concern will shrink provided when you are working on circle of influence. See, proactive people, they use circle of influence. They say that they put their efforts on how to improve their abilities, how to enhance their capabilities. And finally, when they are doing it, the circle of concern will shrink and reactive people, and this is where this increases. And finally, so first thing is we need to understand proactive people are the people who takes the responsibility for themselves. Proactive people, they say that they are the programmers of their life, they are the architect of their life, and they work on circle of influence, not on circle of concern. And they use freedom of choice before responding to a stimulus. That is what is the proactive people. The second habit is a very interesting habit. Begin with end in your mind. See, Stephen Covey says every activity in the world is done twice. One is mentally, second one is physically. If you are not having a mental picture, whatever you are doing becomes an accident in the world. For example, a student joins an MBA program, probably at the end of the second year, probably you should have the end in the mind is, hey, I'm becoming an executive, I'm becoming an entrepreneur, managing a small scale enterprise, or maybe you should see himself into what he wished to become. So that mental picture, what happens is that mental picture provides you the direction for the activities. Mental picture is, see, if even for example, if you take the parlance of the building, when you're planning for your own house, what do we have? You will have a blueprint, right? Without blueprint, if at all you are doing something, probably you may not be. See, most of the people we have is a plan of building a house. Even before hammering a single nail of the building, we have a blueprint where the bedroom is located, where the bathroom is located, where the lawn is there, and we could see it, we could feel it. And Stephen Covey says that mental picture is very, very important. That is what, see, when you are making a journey, you should know the destination. Without knowing the destination, you can go anywhere. So begin with end in your mind is all about creating that mental picture. That mental picture is nothing but the vision, what you wish to become. And that is where you begin with end in your mind speaks about personal vision and deep sense of personal meaning to accomplish something. And these people believe in value-based life, and they prepare the personal statements, personal mission statements of what they wish to become. So if at all you have end in your mind, what happens is all the activities can be driven towards that. So that is what even Stephen Covey says. So begin with and end in your mind is all about saying that, hey, first habit you said, I am the programmer of your life. And here he says, write your program. You are the architect of your life. Prepare your program. Here is the habit two. Habit two is, hey, after 2 years, after 5 years, what is the life that you wish to see? What kind of career that you wish to see? What kind of family you wish to see? When you are starting that, what happens is it provides you the direction. The begin with in your mind is all about your vision, having the correct principles, accomplishing the task in a very positive and effective way is vision two. This is the habit two. Begin with end in your mind. Begin with end in your mind. What you wish to become is, again, you are programmer of your life. You understood that you are the programmer of your life. Here you are writing your program. After 2 years, after 5 years, what I wish to become, what kind of values do I follow when I'm trying to achieve them? And this is where we speak about the vision of individual. Then habit three is put first things first. So habit one is, I'm telling you, habit one is be proactive is the foundational. Without habit one, you cannot think of habit two or three, because habit one says, hey, I am the programmer of life. Habit two says, hey, you are preparing your program. This is what I like, is my life. In fact, habit two says, in fact, if you go even very spiritual way, Stephen Covey says, what people should think, what is your obituary statement, what people should see you, how people should see you, what is your obituary statement when you die, what kind of expectation from people. That is where speaks about habit two. Habit three is, habit two is about you are the programmer. First is programmer of the life. Second one is you are writing the program. Habit three speaks about executing the program. Executing the program. And this executing the program, this people exercise discipline and plan. And this is a very interesting thing is, I'll show you a small quadrant. Is an over small quadrant. This quadrant has got 4 dimensions: urgent, not urgent; important, not important. If I ask you, please, if somebody is there, why don't you put, there are 4 quadrants, which quadrant we should be focused to become highly effective? Could you please put a word in the chat box? Which quadrant we should focus to become effective? All of you wish to become effective and successful, right? Could you please leave a message in chat box? Quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, or quadrant 4? Which one we need to focus attention? Quadrant 1 is urgent and important. Quadrant 2 is not urgent, important. Quadrant 3 is urgent and not important. Quadrant 4 is not urgent and not important. Yeah, I could see Q1, 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 Q1. Okay, Q1, 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 Q1. First one. Okay, interesting. Okay, Q1. Okay. Yeah. I agree with you. There is no way, if quadrant 1 is like a monkey sitting on your head, if quadrant 1 is in your life, you have no option. It is like a monkey is troubling you all the time. It is troubling you. But quadrant 1 in general will not be seen unless you postpone the activities. I'll share you what are these quadrants are all about. Quadrant 1 is what? Crisis, pressing problems, deadline-driven projects, meetings. The students have a very interesting habit. You all write the semester examinations. When you prepare for examination, I think preceding day, some nowadays people are also playing T20 matches also. Then it all becomes, you all know very well that in the month of March, you are supposed to write the examinations. All the activities which should have been in the quadrant 2 preparation, prevention, value clarification, planning, relationship, what we do is we post. Yeah. So I'm sharing you. Quadrant 1 is all about crisis management, deadline. Quadrant 2 is about preparation, prevention. Quadrant 3 is a very interesting quadrant. Urgent, but not important. Again, one more question. Before that question, okay. Quadrant 3 is all about urgent, but not important. Very, very dangerous quadrant. You feel like you are doing something, it may not adding value to you. It is not contributing to you. This is like a time wasters, right? You are speaking to maybe today, if somebody asks me, what is the time we are spending? Most of the time we may be spending on quadrant 3. It looks like urgent, but not important. Why not important? It is not adding value to you. It is not contributing to you. And this may be popular activities, maybe watching, maybe some telephone calls from friends, some reports, some interruptions, some kind of popular activities. Then quadrant 4 is escape. See, a lot of pressure is there in quadrant 1 because there's the pressure over the examination. Man, bloody, why should I study? Okay, let me get out, bloody, go. And escape is quadrant 4. The question I am asking now is, which quadrant should we focus to become effective? Could you please answer in the chat box, please? Which quadrant we should focus attention to become effective in life? Could you please write in the chat? Quadrant 4. Hey, is that quadrant? Okay, quadrant 2, Yamini. Okay, I saw Yamini. Okay, Sneha. Yeah, wow, right. Highly effective people work on quadrant 2. Why I'm quadrant 2 is saying is, see, you all know very well that in the month of March, you are supposed to write examinations. It's all about preparation, prevention, planning, relationship building. All these are important activities, but not urgent. The problem with us is we have a tendency of moving only when something becomes urgent, right? Maybe that's where sometimes we may get into quadrant 3, which we call it as a very deceptive quadrant. Please be very careful with that quadrant 3. This can be very dangerous. You feel like you are so busy. You are engrossed in something, but unfortunately, that is not helping you. My question, one question I'm asking you. This session which is happening now, is it quadrant 1 activity, quadrant 2 activity, quadrant 3 activity, or quadrant 4 activity? Can anybody tell me? Or else you are, yeah, yeah, it is QT, right? Good. It is quadrant. See, highly effective people, they work on something called quadrant 2, and when you are working on quadrant 2, quadrant 1 may not be seen unless there is a natural calamity, unless there is an emergency, unless there is an earthquake or something. Quadrant 1 in general is not seen. And I'll tell you, somebody says that I am struggling, I'm in quadrant 1, you are postponing the quadrant 2 activities and moving them. And quadrant 1 most of the time is a self-created quadrant. So friends, my humble submission to you is, please work on quadrant 2, and so that quadrant 3 may not be visible. And please be very, very careful about quadrant 3 activity. It gives an impression that you are doing something, you are busy, but unfortunately you are doing nothing. And quadrant 3 is a very deceptive quadrant. And quadrant 1, if it is in existence, right, we have no other choice. It's like a monkey scratching you from top to bottom. But is that created by you or not is a question to be asked, right? So these are the one is, and second important thing is, please work on your priorities. First things first speaks about what is the first thing for a student. Can anybody tell me? Student is playing different roles. You are a student, you are a son to the parents or daughter to a parent. You are also a friend to your friends, right? And you are also a member of society. Which is the most important role for a student? For students, study is the most important. That is the first thing. And when you are putting first things first, you will find space for second thing and third thing. But unfortunate thing in today's world is we have the tendency of working on second and third things, and we may be missing the first things. The first things, for example, a newly joined executive in the organization. He is a son, he is a daughter, she is a daughter, she is working, she is also working, she is also she's also a friend to friends, she's also a member of society. What is the first thing for for that particular person? Can anybody tell me? First thing is organization is the first thing. You have joined there, you have to cement your position, and that is the first thing. For example, a mother has given birth to a newborn baby. She is also working in the organization. She is also a wife of husband. What is the first thing for that lady? It is the mother is the first thing, right? So first things are the top priorities for you in life. You are a mother, that is the first thing, because you have to feed, take care of the newborn baby. So first things first, put first things first. And probably if you are putting first things first, you'll find space for second things and third things and fourth things. In fact, I don't know whether I can use this language. Somebody sent me a very interesting message for a boy. This applies to boys, not for girls. This message says, girlfriend is like a shadow, career is like a light. If light is with you, shadow follows. If you are following the shadow all the time, you may not find the light. The beauty is, he says, if you are a career-driven fellow, you have become an entrepreneur, you are earning good money, the girlfriend also understands, hey, he is my man, he can take me to pizza corner, he can offer me the jewelry, and he is my man, because there's a light is with you. So the beauty is, putting first things first is very, very critical. And we all the time say that it's all about working on quadrant 2 and working on the priorities is something. But, and see, quadrant 1 is all about you are the programmer. Quadrant 2 is you have written the program in the form of begin with end in your mind, and by putting first things first, you are using quadrant 3. And the fourth habit, and before getting into fourth habit, it's all about interpersonal relationships, right? It's all about how we build, how we manage other people. It's all about how we build interpersonal relationships. There is something called, we all know debits and credits. All, maybe you are aware of the accounting principles or accounting knowledge. There is something called an emotional bank account. In an emotional bank account, you find deposits and withdrawals. Deposits are making promises, keeping promises, treating people kindly, helping people, loving people. These are all deposits. At the same time, we also make some withdrawals. To become trustworthy, to enjoy high trust, please maintain more deposits and less withdrawals. If the withdrawals are very high, then it's like you may not be trustworthy. So habit 4 speaks about think win-win. These are the people. Think win-win speaks about people need to have abundance mentality all the time. Whenever we speak about anything, if I win, you lose. This is the mindset. And Stephen Covey says, hey, this mindset of win-win is very, very important. When you adapt something called win-lose or lose-win, somebody is unhappy in the system, right? But when you are planning something called, if you look at the quadrant, right? Somebody has lose-win. I lose, you win. Maybe I may not be happy, right? Similarly, somebody wins and I win and you lose. I may be happy, but the other person may not be happy. And lose-lose is, again, two egoistic fellows are battling with each other. Probably there is a possibility both may lose. And the most important thing Stephen Covey says is that win-win should be the habit we need to inculcate. A very interesting insight Stephen Covey says. Stephen Covey planned for a travel with his family and his wife and his children, and he plans a month in advance. Just 2 days prior to the travel to the They planned for a vacation. They identified a beautiful place and everything they planned. So 2 days before they were supposed to leave for the vacation, they get a message. Stephen Covey's mother-in-law, wife's mother, is unwell, was unwell. Then they had options. Option one is entire family go there, serve the mother. Option two is let the lady go and let the lady, Stephen Covey's wife go, and others may go for vacation. But Stephen Covey says, I cannot be happy if my wife is not there. Then finally, what they have done is very interesting thing. They identified a beautiful resort nearby where mother-in-law of Stephen Covey stays. So the entire family went to Stephen Covey's mother-in-law's home. They used to spend morning time there, afternoon in the resort which is located nearby. And it says that is what is nothing but think win-win. Win-win is wherein his wife was happy, his family is happy, and they are happy, and they also had some fun. They had vacation. That is what is all about think win-win. So next habit is seek first to understand and then be understood. This is all about very interesting thing. Is all about please listen empathically. Something Stephen Covey all the time says. We have the habit of only, even if you look at our academics also, we most of the times our performance is evaluated by our writing skills, but there is nowhere our performance is evaluated based on the listening skills. But Stephen Covey says empathic listening is something required to become effective, and seek first to understand before making other fellow to understand. Please, and before making other fellow to be understood by you, understood. Seek first to understand the other fellow, then be understood. Then be understood. It's all about empathic listening. And most of the times, what happens is we have a tendency, whenever somebody is saying something, for example, in organizations, right? Whenever we call people for something, that fellow comes not for the purpose of listening, but for the purpose of responding or answering the question. So empathic listening is something which is required. And that's what he says, that it is not that you try to be understood, but understand the other fellow, then you try to, for example, even boss and subordinate relationship, right? We say in leadership, a leader is supposed to understand the subordinates, team members, then make you be understood. Leader says, hey, what is that? Then once he understands the people, probably you can make people to be understood. So the fifth habit is all about empathic listening. Empathic listening is the hallmark of one of the successful people, and listening is something he speaks about. That's habit 5. Habit 6 is a very interesting habit. It speaks about two things. One is no two people are alike in the world. And very interesting thing, Stephen Covey says, the differences, the value, we should value the differences, and that is where you will find creative cooperation, and even some kind of innovation is possible when you synergize. He says 1 + 1 is more than 2. The whole is greater than the sum of individual parts. For example, if you sow 2 seeds, if you sow two seeds of tree, and even this, that helps even preparing a better soil rather than sowing 1 seed. Similarly, if 2 or 3 people are working together, probably individually what they are contributing, collectively they will be contributing much more than individually they are doing. And Stephen Covey says, hey, every person can bring, the diversity is an opportunity, and that may create, that may help, that will be helpful for the innovation. And rather than rather than cloning with other people, understand that the differences are common and leverage the differences for bringing creativity and teamwork is the habit 6. Habit 7 is all about sharpen the saw. It says, hey, you have, what is habit 1? Habit 1 is be proactive. Habit 2 is begin with end in your mind. Habit 3 is put first things first. So you are the programmer of your life. You have written the program. You have executed the program. Then it is once that is done, it's all about what is the mindset you have. Do you have a mindset of think win-win? And you need to seek under you need to seek first to understand and be understood is you need to understand people, then be understood. Then sixth habit speaks about synergize is all about individual differences are quite common. Use that leverage, you leverage the differences to bring creativity in the organization and sharpen the saw is the habit 7. It all speaks about self-renewal, self-improvement. 2, see, if at all you wish to be effective, you need to have self-improvement. You need to work on your physical, mental, spiritual, and social, emotional areas. It's all about do proper exercise, do proper yoga. That's a mental thing. Then spiritual and social, emotional areas, which enhances other areas of life and nurture other 6 habits. If at all you wish to nurture 6 habits, you need to work on your self-renewal and self-improvement, which speaks about your physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional areas, which enhances and which will help you in nurturing other 6 habits. So it's in short, the habits 1, 2, 3 speaks about your personal effectiveness. It's all within you. Remembering or recalling that you are the programmer of your life. You have written your script in the form of begin with end in your mind, and you have executed the script with the help of putting first things first, and wherein we speak about quadrant 2 activities are very critical. Then from there, when we speak about the interpersonal effectiveness, having the mindset of win-win is very important, because the loser will all the time will trouble the winner, and making mutual creation is very, very important. And most of the time we may not explore that possibility of win-win because of the mindset. And they see, and win-win is then second one is the fifth one is about seek first to understand, then be understood. It's all about as a leader, as a person, please try to understand the other fellow before making yourself understood. And synergize is all about people are different, but at the same time, people are different. We need to use the differences to bring innovation to the organization. And these are the same. We all the time say 7 habits are timeless, universal principles of personal, interpersonal, managerial effectiveness. And these 7 habits are very helpful to make people become effective. In fact, before concluding, before getting into the question and answers, developing a winning mindset, developing the winning mindset is very critical for the success, particularly uh, uh, the habit 1, which is the foundation, that is believe that you have the infinite capacity to do things. What extent are we leveraging our potential is a big question mark. Are we really utilizing our capacity, are leveraging our capacity, and do you really believe? See, the environmental factors may come and may go, but it is you finally matters. That is where speaks about be, you are the creator you are the creator, and you know what is supposed to be there, and you are responsible for your success or failure. And since I was told it is 3:45, I'm supposed to close for this session and open for the question and answers. Now I think Dr. Yamini, it's yours now. I think what are the questions or anything comes?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Ravi. It was indeed a very insightful session. I remember reading this book way back when I was a graduate student and, later in the early years of my career. But listening to you brought back all of those precious learnings and memories associated with that book. Thank you so much. Let's now proceed to the question and answers. I request the participants to post your questions in the chat box if you have any. While the participants post their questions, Dr. Ravi, I have a question, if I can ask. Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. So among the 7 habits, Which one do you believe is the most challenging to consistently practice in the today's fast-paced environment, and why? And have you personally overcome any such challenges in applying that habit?
We are living in the world of distractions. You hope you agree with me. There are a lot of distractions. A telephone call comes, there is an email comes, somebody calls you for a movie, there is something happening in the website, there are some mails floating. And when you are living in the world of distractions, we have this tendency of moving to quadrant 3, which looks like urgent activity, but not important activity. Right? See, today, and that is where the big challenge is. See, you sometimes people are very confident, hey, I'm responsible for my life. Okay, fine, fine, very good. And then sometimes you have something you prepare in the prepare a beautiful vision statement, where statement, but the executing it is a big challenge, because we all the time living in the world of distractions. Lot of distractions in the process. There's the cricket, there could be a cricket match, there could be a TV show, there is something happening, and probably it is moving you, and particularly for students, of course, everybody will have the problem, but students will have much more distractions than you and me. So habit 3, executing the priorities, are working on that not important, but important but not urgent activity is very critical, and working on that is a big challenge.
Yeah.
In fact, I tried, even sometimes I may get into quadrant 3 also, but quadrant 1 increases most of the times. And whenever the quadrant 1 is there, that means probably you are creating certain troubles in life. Somebody says that I have a lot of stresses, and all of them probably in some cases created ones.
Yeah. We have one question from one of our participants. Mr. P. Sai Kumar is asking, which habit suits to the youth today?
Habit 1 and habit 2 is very critical for youngsters. Habit 1 says, see, that's where I'm saying, right? See, whenever you look at newspaper or some media attention, right, there are so many things are happening. That's what I am speaking about, the macroeconomics. Europe is not doing great. A young fellow used to go to Europe, used to go to America, and Europe is not doing well. American economy is not doing well. There is a mysterious technology called generative AI, which is troubling me. And people say that tomorrow there's going to be no employment. Everything is taken care by generative AI. All these kind of things. So please realize that though the technology comes, that also provides you opportunities. There is a fear. So that is where please understand that please do not look for the environmental factors. It's what is really required for you to overcome these environmental challenges is very, very important. Habit 1 is foundational. That's where even Stephen Covey says that if you lay a strong foundation, right? Hey, I am not a moody fellow. I'm not working on my feelings, but rather I exercise a freedom of choice based on what I am, my self-awareness, the imagination, and independent will, right? And probably that is very, very important. We have this tendency of tendency of responding based on our moods, reacting based on the moods. That's what is the reaction. But if you are a proactive person, probably you'll be making right moves. So that is the habit 1 is the foundation. The second one, habit 2, is okay. The habit 2 is all about what is your value statement, where you wish to become, and particularly for students, if at all. And habit 2, the beauty of habit 2 is habit 2 will provide you the direction for your activities, and habit 2. And habit 3 is, again, I may ask the question to the same gentleman who has raised the question, which is important, compass or clock? If I am asking that question, I think compass is very important in the clock. Compass will provide you the direction. If you are supposed to go to Mumbai, probably if you are landing in Hyderabad, makes no sense, right? So compass provides direction. It is not the clock. So we should be working on the direction. So that is where the habit 3 is something that matters for us.
Thank you. We have one more question, and before that, I would want to mention to all the participants that the form for feedback and attendance is already posted in the chat. It's only available for 15 minutes. Request all the participants to please enter your details. Coming to the next question, we have this question from Mr. Aryan Jain from IBA Bangalore. He being a management student, he wants to ask you this question. Do you have any tips for staying consistent with these habits when faced with academic pressure and stress?
Just a minute. Give me a minute.
Yeah.
Hello.
Do you want me to just repeat the question? Request all the participants to please check the link that is provided for the webinar attendance. Please proceed to the chat box and click on the link and enter your details. You have only 15 minutes.
Yeah. See, consistencies, that's where I'm saying. One is, please be noted. We may experience, that is where, ask some questions to yourself. I'll give you 2-3 questions. Prepare the 3 questions. One is about happiness, yourself only. Am I making my best efforts to make myself happy? First question, ask yourself. Am I making my best efforts to set the goals? Question 3, am I making my best efforts to achieve the goals? If the answer is yes, you are consistent. And ask this question to yourself. Most of the times what happens is the answer is negative and we may not. So that is where we speak about discipline is very critical for the success. And please remember,
So, Dr. Ravi, I think, the last part of the question was when, you got your call. It was about staying consistent when faced with academic pressure and stress. That's what Aryan would wanted to understand.
Please remember, we all will have academic pressures and everywhere, right? So please, it's a part of the life. It's a part of the life. Consider it as an opportunity for you rather than considering it as a challenge. And if you look at the history everywhere, right? People who demonstrate something called perseverance, resilience, they are the people found to be much more effective. That is where even the habit one speaks about. So, Yamini, I think I have a call. Could you please, if you permit me? Thank you very much for everyone, for the wonderful audience. And thank you, Yamini. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you so
much. Thank you very much. And Yamini, please take over.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ravi. We're almost, to the end of the session, and thanks to Dr. Ravi for patiently responding to the questions. It was indeed a very insightful session today. With this, we come to an end of this milestone 200th session. On behalf of all the participants, I thank Dr. Ravi Dasari for accepting the request and delivering an insightful session. I also extend my gratitude and thanks to Mr. Sudhir Sharma, President AIMS, Dr. Durga Prasad, Executive Secretary AIMS, and all the board members, AIMS Secretariat, etc. And lastly, to all the participants for being such a wonderful audience and, posting rightful questions. Thank you so much. Thank you once again. Priya, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Can I close the session?